I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Stick to the Pod. It's episode 45. We are in the week of the final week of the regular season. So let's get straight into Division 2, the Ladler Conference, and see what's been going on over there. Just the 4 games, because there's one game with not a lot of information, just the 4 games that took place at the weekend. Still 1 or 2 games that are left to play. They'll be finished up next weekend, or I should think they should be finished next weekend. But on Saturday the 15th of March, the Sheffield Titans had their big derby with local rivals Nottingham Lions 2. Shots even on the day, 30 each. Plenty of minutes even during the game, 10 minutes each. But it's the Lions 2 who take the 5-4 victory. Borowski with 2, Wilcox and the super talented Alex Rushbury playing down in Division 2 to help Lions 2 with 2. And then it's Gray, Roebuck and Keeling with 2, who again always plays for the Scimitars most weeks, but helping out the Sheffield Titans on this given night. So as I said, a 5-4 victory for the Lions 2. And then moving on into, well, I wasn't going to do much with this game, but yeah, the Sutton Sting 20, the Deeside Ducks 14. The Sutton Sting having 106 shots in the game. 8 goals in the first period, just the 4 in the second period, and 8 in the third. Stennett and Saunders, Watson, Crowther, Templar and Akers, and Brooks Smith and Lawson Gillespie, all with a goal each. It's Joey Colton with 2. It's Russell with 3, Meadows with 3, and Gillespie with 4. Moving into the Sunday then, and after a lot of comments made on the Saturday that the Sting should be letting up on teams like Deeside, which I totally disagree with. We're heading into the playoffs now. Someone's trying to say it just isn't development, but the Sting are a young side themselves. They've got some very young, talented players. They will travel to Bradford, and we have to sound the upset klaxon, and it's the Bradford Bulldogs who get a huge win over second place Sutton Sting. They take the game 5-3 after being outshot 45-28. Goal scorers then for Sutton is Meadows, Russell and Gillespie, and for Bradford it's Andrew Kianovich, Derbyshire, Vince and Mallon. And then the final game of the weekend was the Altrincham Aces and the Coventry NIHL Blaze. Unfortunately, nothing's been put on for us information-wise, but I know Harley over at NIHL Updates did at least put the score on there and Altrincham Aces goal scorers. So this finished 8-5 to the Aces, with goal scorers Daintiff, Price, Frost, Price with another, and Gotts on the score sheet for the Altrincham Aces. No goal scorers found for the Coventry Blaze. So what we'll do is we'll have a look to see what fixtures are left before we have a look at the league table. Just the 3 games on the Sunday, of one of which is a Challenge Cup game. I believe that is a Hockey Hound Cup. But it's the Sheffield Titans who take on the Kingston Sharks, and the Nottingham Lions taking on the Deeside Ducks. And I'm just having a quick skimmy through the table. And yeah, there's still a little bit to play for down for that final playoff spot. Just going to have a quick look back on NIHL Updates just to see if any of this has been confirmed. No, so our playoff matches are still stands as Telford still unknown and Sutton Sting unknown. It's the Billingham Buccaneers versus the Kingston Sharks, and it's the Coventry Blaze versus the Altrincham Aces. So can the Titans make up that 3-point gap going into this weekend? The Titans host the Kingston Sharks and the Lions host the Deeside Ducks. So you've got to think it is in the Lions' hands to take that final playoff spot. And I think Bradford will be okay as well. Moving into Division 1 then, if it decides to load. It was a record-breaking weekend for some players around the league. And we'll jump straight in. We'll just go through the list of the Moral League games on Saturday the 15th of March, where the Billingham Stars took a party bus down to Deeside to celebrate their defending champions for the first time since retaining the league title. And it was the Dragons who actually came out to a 2-goal lead, although pretty much not against the runner play, but the Stars had the better of the play. They were better quality on the puck. They were moving the puck around a lot better than the Dragons. But it was the Dragons who led 2-0 going into the first. In the second period then, and the Stars do pull it back to 2-2. I'm just trying to get those times for you. Yeah, so it was Rollins gritting straight at the start of the second period, getting on the score sheet, scoring his 32nd of the season. And then 15 minutes later, Ian Brown scores his 62nd of the season to tie the game at 2. We moved into the third period, and it's Michael Elder's 27th goal of the season to give the Stars the go-ahead goal, and they just didn't look back from that moment. Ian Brown scoring his 63rd, and Callum Mugginson adding his 14th of the season before Michael Elder got his 2nd of the game and his 28th of the season. Shots then, it was in the favour of the Deeside Dragons, 44-40. The counting went a little bit skew with, in my opinion, in that third period, as the Dragons outshoot the Stars 16-10, meaning the Stars scored, 4 goals on 10 shots in the third period. Not very good for netminder Matt Croyle. Moving on then, next game of the night is the Whitley Warriors hosting the Widnes Wild, and it's the Warriors getting the 3-1 win, outshooting their opponent, or being outshot by their opponents. No, it isn't. Why is that not loaded? Sorry. There we go. The Warriors do outshoot their opponents 51-45, and it's Carl Ross, Harry Harley and Jaden White on the score sheet for the Whitley Warriors, and it's Flint Massey for the Widnes Wild. A couple of fights in this game. I'm just saying that it looks like that information isn't correct. Alright, there it is, yep. Jordan Barnes, 5 minutes for his fight with Ben McLennan, who received 5 minutes. And Damani James receives 5 minutes for his fight with Adam Wood, also 5 minutes. Obviously a lot of fan news and a statement coming out from Widnes Wild after this game over the weekend, and it's not shit that you really want to see in this game. Racism has no place whatsoever in this game, no matter what the person says to you, whether he calls you fat, ugly or whatever. To come back with a racist slur is just not acceptable in 2025. And I believe this person was dealt with very, very quickly, and rightly so. Moving on, and then it's the Leeds Knights hosting the Hull Jets, and the Leeds are very much on the edge of the playoffs. They are holding that final spot at the moment, and we'll see in time whether they have just enough to hold on. Lucas Desardri making 40 saves on the night, and Dom Smith for the Hull Jets getting the 27-shot shutout. Goal scorers then for your Hull Jets was the Richard Hagger, Ethan Daintith, Kieran Beach and Ian Kerman. And as we say there, the Leeds Knights were shut out on this occasion, which not many teams will say they'll be able to do. They have a very talented young side, do Leeds, and I'm sure they'll be wanting to take a step further next year. Moving on into Sunday then, and it's the Solihull Barons who travel over to Sheffield, and it's not quite the comfortable night for the Barons as they race to, I think it was a 3-3 score line at the half-hour mark, but from that moment on, the Barons do put their foot down and their quality does show in the end. Matt Maurice puts the Barons ahead 1-0 with his 16th of the season. Christian Pelling equalising for his 13th. Solihull new boy Zaki Okayama scoring his 16th of the season to make it 2-1, but just moments later Brandon Shard making it 2-2 with his 4th. Matt Maurice gets his 2nd of the game and his 17th of the season. And then again, as it swings backwards and forwards this game, Christian Pelling gets his 2nd of the game and his 14th of the season. However, at the 34-minute mark, it's Nicholas Otterson scoring his 36th of the season to give the Barons a 4-3 lead, and as I say, they do not look back from this moment. Jacob Race scoring his 10th, Charlie Webb getting his 12th, Dan Mulcahy scoring his 42nd, and Nicholas Otterson his 2nd of the night and his 37th of the season. The Barons out shooting their horse also 59-36. Moving next then, and then it's on to the record game between the Billingham Stars and the Deeside Dragons. A 14-5 victory for the Billingham Stars, outshooting their visitors, being outshot by their visitors 53-52. Chris Sykes having a great night, having a 7-point night with 1 goal plus 6 to bring his 100th point of the season. But it's Ian Brown who breaks the league's goal scoring record that had been set by Jason Hewitt as a Hull Pirate back when the EPL went bust and they had nowhere else to go, so they dropped the EPL teams down into the NIHL North before they created their new National League. So scoring goes with Conor McNulty opening the scoring for the Billingham Stars for his 13th of the season. Lucas Dowdle then scoring his 12th. Jake Wachowski with a great solo effort makes it 2-1 to the Stars with his 48th of the season. And then Ian Brown makes it 3-1 with his 64th. James Moss gets his 18th to make it 4-1. And in that 24-minute mark, Ian Brown scores his record equaling 65th goal of the season to make it 5-1. Not more than a minute later, Gary Simpson scores his 12th of the season to make it 5-2. But then again, not a minute after this, Ian Brown gets put on a breakaway by Chris Sykes and scores the league record 66th goal of the season to make it 6-2. 7-2 was made by Sean Galloway with his 4th of the season. 7-3 comes by way of Charles Phillips' 7th of the season. Chris Sykes gets it on the scoring action to make it 8-3 and his 28th. Ian Brown gets the hat-trick at 9-3 and his 67th of the season. James Moss grabs his 2nd and his 19th goal of the season to make it 10-3. Rollins Grithands with his 33rd making it 11-3. Gerard Dickinson with his 14th goal of the season to make it 11-4. And then 2 goals from Darren Stattersfield for his 3rd and 4th of the season, of one of which is a short-handed goal. Roland Grittens gets his 34th of the season to make it 14-4, and Jake Witkowski finishes the night scoring to make it 14-5 and his 49th goal of the season. So yeah, a very impressive night for the Billingham Stars and in the league in general on Sunday. Dan Mulcahy bringing his 100th point up and Chris Sykes, the first 2 non-imports to do that this year. Ian Brown obviously bringing up his 101st point and taking that goal scoring record of 67 goals with 1 game left to play. Into Hull then, and it's quite a big game because Widnes are still knocking on that playoff door, just on the outskirts, chasing down Leeds Knights. But the Widnes Wild do find themselves in a hell of a hole at the 13th minute mark when they are 4-0 down from goals from 2 from Kieran Beach, 1 from Boris Gieber and 1 from Adam Yaseko. Michael Gilbert puts a bit of life into the Widnes Wild at 4-1, but quickly Adam Yaseko makes it 5-1. Andrew Hopkins with his 21st goal of the season for the Widnes Wild makes it 5-2 before Hull make it 6-2 with Harry Barwell. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Matt Barlow makes it 6-4, and then to put any nerves to bed, Devon Girinox scores a 7th for the Hull Jets to make it 7-4, and then with 8 minutes left in the game, Widnes make it 7-5 with Luke Alston. Hull Jets do outshoot their opponents 38-33 on the night. Final game of the weekend then is over in Blackburn, where the Blackburn Hawks take on a quite depleted Whitley Warriors side. Not many available for the Warriors due to some football team playing in a Mickey Mouse Cup. It was a 7-1 victory for the Blackburn Hawks, who started Oliver Thomason in net and only faced 22 shots and the 1 goal conceded. Josh Crane took the net for the Warriors, conceding 7 on his 58 shots. Goal scorers then. James Riddick makes his 13th of the season. Matt Cross adding his 4th. Jacob Luckweich adds number 46. And Bobby Streetley added his 2nd, all to make it 4-0, just inside the second period. Jimmy Ord does pull one back for his 14th of the season to make it 4-1. And then Aaron Davies 13th, Lee Pollitt's 6th, and Jacob Luckwich's 47th goal of the season finishes off the scoring and a 7-1 scoreline for the Blackburn Hawks. And again, just like Division 2, we are heading into our final weekend of the season. We've got 4 games on both nights. Some finish Saturday, some will finish Sunday. So it is a bit of an action-packed weekend. And still a lot to play for in who plays who in the playoffs, which we'll have a quick look at very shortly. So 4:40 in Sheffield is the Sheffield Scimitars versus the Leeds Knights. 5:30 the Billingham Stars host the Whitley Warriors. 5:30 in Hull the Jets face the Solihull Barons. And 7 p.m. in Widnes they host the Nottingham Lions. Sunday then, and the Deeside Dragons host the Hull Jets. The Whitley Warriors host the Blackburn Hawks, Leeds Knights host the Nottingham Lions, and the Sheffield Scimitars travel to Solihull Barons. So just scrolling up to the league table now, we don't have anything confirmed yet playoff-wise other than what we announced last week, which was the Blackburn Hawks and the Nottingham Lions. Quickly, as the table stands, as we know, the Billingham Stars are champions. 35 games played, 32 wins, just the 3 losses, 252 goals scored, 86 goals against for 96 points. And I believe, and I am told, they are one win away from setting the league record of wins, which is 33. In second place, way back behind the Stars, but way ahead of the Solihull Barons, is the Blackburn Hawks. 35 games played, 28 wins, 1 win by overtime, 6 losses, 237 goals scored and 102 conceded for their 86 points. Third place is the Barons, who've got a 2-game weekend this weekend. 34 games played, 22 wins, 2 overtime wins, 14 losses, 200 goals scored, 145 conceded for their 208 scored and 71 points. Deeside Dragons are the 4th place team with 35 games played, so just 1 game remaining for them this weekend. 19 wins, 2 overtime wins, 14 losses, 201 goals for them. It's 196 conceded for them for their 61 points, 10 points behind 3rd place. The big game for them this weekend is the Hull Jets and the Deeside Dragons. Hull do have 2 games remaining and they play the Dragons on Sunday. Can they nick that 4th spot and get that home ice advantage? The Hull Jets, as I said, 2 games remaining, 17 wins, an overtime win, 4 overtime losses, 12 losses in regulation, 134 goals scored, 118 conceded, and 57 points on the board. So still 6 points available for the Jets. So Deeside Dragons will need to win that game on Sunday. As for the Whitley Warriors, they cannot be caught and they cannot catch anyone. They are in... Oh, can they? Oh, yeah, yes, they can. Yes, they can. If Hull Jets had to lose both their games and Whitley Warriors to win both of their games, which I find highly unlikely, given that they play the Stars and the Hawks this weekend, the Warriors could come 5th. I think we can forget that one. So the Warriors, 34 games played, 17 wins, an overtime loss, 16 regulation losses, 147 goals scored, 143 conceded, 52 points on the board. 9 points further back then is the Nottingham Lions, and we know they are solid in that position. 34 games played, 13 wins, an overtime win, 20 regulation losses, 148 goals scored, 162 conceded, 41 points on the board. A massive 20 points back is the Leeds Knights in that final playoff spot. 34 games played, 6 wins, 3 overtime losses, 25 regulation losses, 103 scored, 206 conceded. 3 points further back is the Widnes Wild. 35 games played, 5 wins, 2 overtime wins, 28 losses, 112 goals scored, 227 conceded, and 19 points on the board. And then lastly, and now confirmed as not making the playoffs, the Sheffield Scimitars. 34 games played, 3 wins, an overtime win, an overtime loss, 29 regulation losses, just the 72 goals just the 72 goals scored, so you can see where their problems have laid this year. 232 goals conceded, 12 points on the board. So it is the Billingham Stars, and I'm pretty sure it is Leeds, but we'll wait till after the weekend just to have that confirmed. The next matchup is 4th v 5th. This will be, in my opinion, D-side versus Hull. We just don't know which round that will be. The next playoff bracket is the Blackburn Hawks and the Nottingham Lions. That is confirmed. And then the final matchup is the Solihull Barons and the Whitley Warriors. And I think, even though not mathematically correct, that'll pretty much stay as is. So as a betting man, I'm going to put my hat on the line and say that the bracket is complete, and we're going to have the Billingham Stars versus the Leeds Knights. We're going to have D-side versus Hull. Not sure which way it'll be round, who gets home ice advantage. The Blackburn Hawks against the Nottingham Lions. The Solihull Barons versus the Whitley Warriors. So potential semi-final matchups then. We may as well look into this one. And if the Billingham Stars get past Leeds, the winner of Hull or D-side will await them in the semi-final. If the Blackburn Hawks can get past the Nottingham Lions, they will await the winner of the Solihull Barons or the Whitley Warriors. So in my guess it will be the Billingham Stars versus the D-side Dragons and the Solihull Barons versus the Blackburn Hawks in our playoff semi-finals this year. There we go. I've stuck my hat on it, and that's what I'm backing. And since I've done that, let's just jump back over into Division 2 and see what we can sort out playoff bracket there then. What we will do is we will confirm some positions in the league, or at least put our hat on it and see where we go from there. The Telford Tigers still waiting for their opponent, and I think it will be the Nottingham Lions too. The Coventry Blaze against the Altrincham Aces. The Sutton Sting will be against Bradford, and the Billingham Buccaneers versus the Kingston Sharks. So in my money will be on the Telford Tigers playing against the Coventry Blaze in the semi-finals, and it'll be the Sutton Sting and the Billingham Buccaneers, who let's not forget, guys, the Billingham Buccaneers are defending playoff champions. They beat the Sting in the final last year, so they will be out for revenge no matter what, especially as so far this year the Sting are trophyless. So just trying to quickly go through to see if I've missed off anything else. Tickets available for playoff weekend still out there. There is still City Showdown merch available also. I'm just trying to quickly go through. Alex White was announced as banned for the Solihull Barons last season for his hit to the head on Stars defenceman Joe Dowdle. He got 2 games suspended with a 2-game suspension. So best behaviour for Alex, or those 2 other games will be engaged. And then there's rumours flying around about Dean Holland's suspension coming up due to an incident with Lions defenceman Bailey Challenge. So we'll see what comes of that when breakfast and bands come out on a Saturday morning. Not a lot fixture-wise this weekend. Obviously, a lot of teams are pretty much done, or they're having the last game of the season on the last weekend. But we do have a bumper Division 1 next weekend, so there'll be quite a lot to talk about as we head into the playoffs. I'll see if Graham or Ben are around at the end of next week, as we can have a look to see what's going on in the south, and who to look out for at playoff weekend and what their playoff bracket looks like. Also, congratulations needs to go out to the Leeds Knights, who have done their three-peat. They have won their third league title in a row. And if you are one for an absolute hockey nut, do keep an eye on things going in what is going on in the south, as I believe the Slough Jets are just one victory away from winning the league there. That is pretty much everything from me this week. Not, like I say, not a lot going on. A few records have been broken by a couple of Stars players, with the goals record finally taking it from Jason Hewitt, which has stood for 7 or 8 years. But yeah, that is just about it from me for this week. So anything you want to ask, drop an email or send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. See you this weekend if you're at the derby, the Warriors versus the Stars, or Stars versus the Warriors to be exact. But that is all from me. Bye for now.